All right, the brown bomber here. French engineering in all its stupendous glory.
Listen, it's easy to make fun of this car because of the history of fire problems and just history of problems. But for its time, and it was 1971 Motor Trend Car of the Year, it was, and it's even to this day, a technological marvel. So many features in it, even today, are not commonplace.
Now, this is a 1973?
This is 73, which was one of the last ones that came to the U.S. It's got the larger Maserati engine, and it has the good 5-speed Getrag. Other versions, unbelievably, had a 2.5 liter, 2.8 liter Maserati engine. This one has a 3.5, and the other ones had a 4-speed automatic. And that, combined with a smaller engine in a car this size, was wretchedly bad.
So you've actually gone really fast in this car before.
I've gone 140 in this car.
Scary or nice?
A little scary, because although it did have what's the French call the Dereva speed sensitive steering, even at very high speeds, it's not as tight as you want it to be. At 2 miles an hour, you touch this wheel, the whole car lurches. And at 140, you would like to be able to touch the wheel and have it stay straight. You could probably flip this car by moving it 1 degree at those speeds.
Well, the French back in the day were into the luxury aspect of driving.
And optimistic about driver skill.
This car, how long have you had this one?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half, and what'd you pay for it, if we might ask on camera?
$20,000.
$20,000. Did you get a good deal? Are they worth anything?
I think it was absolutely a fantastic deal. This particular example was owned by Dennis Foley, who was at one point the president of the Citroen Car Club of America. He kept it in absolutely pristine conditions. It had 50,000 miles when I bought it. And actually, it's been super reliable for me, although it has not turned over about twice a day for the last 4 days.
It's after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a little warm here today, so it's understandable if it doesn't start up.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a Citroen, but every time I take it to a car show, someone says in 10 years this will be worth $100,000. Who knows?
We'll add this to the investment
car. It's one of our investment cars. Buy the Citroen now for $20,000.
We'll help you raise the
And Alex said in 10 years it'll be worth $100,000.
The sarcasm.
Well, let's pop the hood and take a look at. I would reach for it, but knowing the way these cars work, it could open up on the side.
I can't wait.
Flip open this
Just
way.
the look on your face when you see. Oh God.
This is one of those, ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to alarm you, but what we're looking at here is a mechanical nightmare.
Let me start with, and I should have mentioned this. It was a very aerodynamic car. It was also a front-wheel drive car, sports car back in '73. It's not a sports car. It's a GT car, maybe on a good day.
I've never seen a rack and pinion higher than the front wheels. Like it's as tall as it's the top of the rim of the wheel there. Is this a requirement?
Yeah,
you gotta have this with you at all times,
yes.
just in case.
And also, the spare belt, you see the spare stuff, and then of course you have here this great thing which says, "Caution: do not use brake fluid. Refill only with green fluid."
Yeah, you got that here.
Actually, I do. Every Citroen, I think that's been sold.
What is green fluid?
It's the fluid for the suspension system.
So basically, like ATF, but
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all this stuff and you're going, "Who's the mechanical wizard that can fix this?" And it looks scary.
Well, there's only 3 or 4 guys in the country. But and I'll say this: I'm not a car guy. I love cars. I own many cars. I don't even pretend to know what I would do with this thing if it broke. I can tell you about the suspension system, which is interesting, because you have your accumulator, you have your, each 4-corner has its suspension sphere.
It's all
and the brake
hydraulics.
system, all hydraulic, and the braking system sphere, which equalizes, I guess, the cars in handling, although I would not call the car a good handling car by any means. Although, this is an interesting metric. According to Motor Trend, this was the shortest stopping distance car they'd ever tested until the 959 came out.
Was this during the payoff era of Motor Trends or something? We can say that on camera, I believe, right?
Apparently someone at Ford lost their job when the Citroen got Car of the Year. So I don't know.
I believe it. Everything in here looks like it's
That
backwards.
would
Bell
hurt
housings
too.
in the
Yeah,
front,
it would really hurt.
Bell's housings in the front, oil filters upside down. I mean, it shouldn't be
It
much
almost-
under the engine.
I'll tell you what I would have loved to know is seeing these guys on the drawing board coming up with this design, because even back then this was wildly unconventional, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And just the idea of a full hydraulic suspension system versus $2 worth of twisted steel into a spring. They must have obviously been trying to do something, but I'm sure there's a huge and interesting story about how this car.
Well, let's be fair here. Citroen pioneered the hydrodynamic suspension system, and listen, I I can make fun of my own car for its flaws, but it is without a doubt today, this very car has a more comfortable ride than pretty much anything you can buy at any price.
77 Broham?
Oh, more comfortable than that.
That's saying
you've
something.
driven in LA, I've driven in New York. Get in this car, drive it around the block, you will not believe how comfortable the ride is. It is unbelievable. It makes everything else seem broken. And I've owned a lot of cars. This is so wonderful to drive this car. And that suspension system is still used by Citroen today. So, I mean, and obviously a lot more advanced, electronically controlled, which this is not. And it seems crazy, but it works.
I mean, literally, I'm trying to get words to describe how complicated this mechanism looks.
I think it's great that they don't even hide the fact that it's a Maserati engine. I guess it was sort of a bad.
Well, remember, they bought Maserati. Citroen bought Maserati, in I forget 70, 69, 70. I don't know what year it was. And the plan was for this car to have a 4-liter V8. Maserati, for whatever reason, never completed the engine, and French law to this day is draconian about engine size. And so they decided this was the biggest engine they could fit in the car that was available at the time. And there is somebody locally who has that one Maserati 4-liter V8 engine who says it makes this car incredible.
Go, baby.
Come on, come on.
All right.
Hey, easy, don't throw a rod here.
All right, so let's start in we'll start in the highest setting.
We're in 4x4 mode now, right?
Yeah, well, this is actually...
it's going up even more.
The official...
Just a lever on the side of the
official
on the seat.
title is jacking mode, because you would only use this if you're going to jack the car or go seriously off-road. So here, let's...
So we're now about a foot off the ground, higher than when we started.
It's got more, I think. No, maybe... No, that's it. So that's
pretty high. I mean,
all right, so that's jack. Then now, this is not recommended for extended driving. Then you have this mode, which is...
Performance.
Here, we should be dropping a little bit. All right, yeah.
Oops, there it goes.
All right, so this is the highest safe driving mode. All right, and then you have the next lowest, which is, okay.
The back really drops
We'll call
quickly.
it the bad guy mode, because whenever you see like a European movie and the bad guy's got one of these things, it's sucked down.
Oh, yeah. And so, like when you
looking-
brake under heavy braking, the car's rear suspension, because the brake is like pretty much an on-off switch connected to the hydraulic system. If you hit the brakes, the rear of the car just drops immediately to compensate for any drop at the front. All right, so now I'm going to lower it to standard
But
driving.
how quickly could it drop?
Pretty fast.
Does it?
Well,
Not like...
considering that most cars don't drop at all, anything's better than something, right? And so, this is standard driving mode, and this is the mode that the lawyer should have stopped it from including. This is the ground mode, and the car...
I mean, you're literally
on the
a
ground.
foot or lower
Right.
than the high mode.
So-
I'm surprised the lowriders, guys, haven't found out about the Citroen.
Let me tell you, when I come up and those guys are around, they see this car, they go crazy.
We should put some Daytons on it.
Yeah. Well, actually, the interesting thing about this car, it was the first car to offer as an option carbon fiber rims. Because they were really into unsprung weight issues. So like inboard brakes, like, the carbon fiber brake wheels. There was something like $8,000 back then. So
Clearly it worked for him because it's a popular car.
So,
Something tells me the Alpine Stereo is in stock.
no, and I kept it there because I wanted to leave the radio position, because the interior quality is still, absolutely incredible. The radio is sideways mounted in the center. The seats, a new Ferrari might have interior leather better than this, but everything is hand stitched.
Yeah.
All the individual pieces.
It has that distinct European old car smell.
And if you just lean your head back and just feel like the comfort
It's like a little couch.
Yeah, it was designed for 2 6-footers in the front and 2 5'8" girls in the back with luggage to get from Paris to the south of France on one tank of gas.
I want to say thanks to Alex Roy
for having me.
for bringing down his 73 SM.
Thanks a lot. It's a fun car.
Thanks, Matt.
And throw out your website and your book title again so people can know.
The driver, and the website is www.teampolizei.com. That's team, Polizei.com.